They do. That's their conclusion, that they would prefer Joe Biden. But the Chinese, what they said is China would prefer Joe Biden. Whether they do, that's their conclusion, that they would prefer Joe Biden. But the Chinese, what they said is.
What's going on, everyone? There's no 3, 2, 1 tonight. Just good evening. How you doing? You're watching Ash on Comics. It's Storytime Live. It's the 50th episode. And of course, tonight on the 50th episode, Melissa would be first. Good morning to Melissa. I think it's like 1 a.m. where she's at. The reason I know this is because she always says see you at 1. So, Dane Baird is number 2. Good to see you, Dane. You know, being second place And being not cheating still means you're second place. Sorry. But hey, kudos to you for not cheating. And Marania's in the house as number 3. Good to see you, Marania. Don't see you every night. I think you missed some cool episodes. I'm really enjoying this Chrononauts. It's really fun. So how is everyone? I gotta do the scene transition. I really need one of those boxes that you can manage the, like the little screens and different things. I have to do everything on the same screen that I'm doing on my PC, looking at stuff, and I have to click back and forth, and it's just third world problems, me complaining about nothing. Dragon Majesty is here. Good to see you, my friend. Southern Comic Geek says, what's going on, folks? Melissa Harris says, Ash at a game. You're at a game? Are you like at a sports? No. Or are you just talking about the music? You can't be at a game. There's no games going on right now. For the 50th episode bash, maybe Ash will burn all his Bendis books. I paid a lot of money for those books. I'm not going to burn them. What do you think I am? Crazy? Went and got a... Oh, here we go. For 50th anniversary, I'm going to crack open a beer. That's what I'm going to do. Let's see who else is in the house. Computer robots. Oh, wait, no. Marania says, Dragon Majesty, that would be conflagration equal to the Chicago fire of the olden days if Ash burned all of the Bendis books. Yeah, I don't have all of the Bendis books. I think he just meant my Bendis books. Christopher Barker's also in the house. Computer Robot says, hi guys, I just finished watching a couple episodes of The World's Strictest Parents when I forgot that Ash was streaming right now as usual. All right. The World's Strictest Parents. Listen, wait a second. What is it? You got to tell me more about this World's Strictest Parents. An episode? Is this a TV show? Because if it's a TV show, these are not the World's Strict. There's no way the World's Strictest Parents could be televised. They would have child services at their house in a heartbeat. We live in a world, especially if it's Western culture, we live in a world where parents aren't allowed to be parents anymore. Jesus, you can get your kids taken away from you just by spanking them. God forbid you actually be strict. I need to know more about this show, Computer Robots. I'm very curious. World's Strictest Parents. They made me do my homework. They said if I couldn't do my homework, I had no tablet time. I couldn't play on my phone for 30 minutes. They're so strict. The beer of tonight is my staple, Modelo Especial. Mexicans make good beer. I'll tell you what. Well, let's see who else is in here. Christopher Barker says, hi, Marania. I got my DC collection back. Marania said, you did? That's great, Christopher. I thought you said bye to DC, Chris. So Chris is made a big change in his life. We'll have to see how this drama unfolds. Ash, what is this music? I'm armchair dancing to it. Oh, Marania, you haven't... This is like my regular opening song nowadays. This is... Oops, just got a charge on my credit card. My phone tells me. Okay, fine. I understand. You told me already. This is a artist called Phantom Menk. I'll type it there in the chat. It's a BitTunes or a chiptune. Chiptunes, I think, is what they call it now. Chiptunes artist. I discovered him many years ago on Bandcamp, but he's available. I know he's on Google Play. The specific song that I play is called The Massacre. And he's just one of the few chiptunes artists that I really, really dig. And there you go. I supported him. Bought his stuff on Bandcamp. Apparently he's got a bunch of more stuff now that I can stream off of my Google Play, which is going away because Google hates good things. Let's see. Chris says, I have Ash's stream mute. Thanks, Chris. Thanks. You always know you're doing a good stream when people mute you. They listen to something else and just pay attention to your chat. Computer Robot says, it's a live action reality show about picking to teens who are unruly to their real parents, and they get sent off to live with parents who are stricter all over the world and stay with them for a whole week. I need to, where do I find this show? Put in the chat where I find this show. I must see an episode of this. It just sounds, it sounds like a comedy. I'm just going to watch this and just be like, oh my God. No, it's not going to be strict. Now it says some go to Sweden, Canada, India, South Africa. Now you go to Nigeria or somewhere. That's where, you know what? I think all kids that live like in Western countries, especially like America. Let me just speak for America for a second. I think all kids should be sent off for like 3 months, for like a summer. Yeah, you could do that. We could have this is what I would do if I was president. I would come up with a system to pay to have, you know how they have, what is that called? Where you can go to school, foreign exchange student. I want foreign exchange vacations where you send kids off to just have a summer vacation in a third world country. And so they can learn how freaking good they have it. Because I'll tell you what, man, the problems that is happening in Western civilization, in America in general, because that's where I'm at, is the utter, like, how do I say this? Like, basically, how rich and soft our lifestyle is. Even people who are poor have things like air conditioning and cars and paved streets and plumbing and then, electricity and PlayStations and Xboxes and smartphones and everything you need. Like, Americans live so well, and they live also so unappreciative. They're just like, imagine going to a third world country and telling someone there that you spent $500 on a pair of shoes. That's like their annual salary you spent on a pair of shoes. And now to a lot of Americans, that's not even a lot. Like, oh, $500 pair of shoes. Like, to me, that's a lot. I would never spend $500. Like, I look at a pair of shoes and I'm like, oh, it's $100. Oh my God. It's like, geez, I was looking, my flip-flops broke. I wear flip-flops a lot. My flip-flops broke, and I was like, man, I need another pair of flip-flops. And we just happened to be at a sporting goods store buying some sporting goods for my buddy's kids. And I was like, oh, they got some, flip-flops and sandals and shoes and whatever here. And I was looking, I was like, $50 for a pair of flip-flops. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? It's like, Jesus. And what's the deal with Crocs? You guys know what Crocs are? Those shoes? They're called Crocs. They're basically injection mold plastic. They're all one piece. Actually, it's two pieces. Okay, it's got a little strap that attaches to it. But the main shoe part is literally just formed like out of a mold. And they're $50. I was like, oh my God. God, Americans, we live so rich. Like, most people in the world make like $1 a day on average, and kids in our country just don't understand. They're so entitled. And so what the problem that creates is when even the smallest little thing goes out of, against their way, they cannot handle it. Like, the littlest things they're just like, they have a breakdown. Anyways, I went way off the track on this. Ash was listening to Ailstorm Fanny Boz. He is a fearsome pirate. Okay. It's a pretty cool name. Let's see. Chris is wrong. Ash parents can be parents. They're just too stupid to know how. No, well, parents can be parents, and then the government can come and take them away. So, no, you can't actually be a parent if the government controls how you parent. So, yes, that doesn't excuse the negligence that a lot of bad parents do. I'm not doing that. But what I am saying is the strict parents, they're just, a lot of tools are taken away from them, and the state is too involved, and there's too much power taken away from parents to control. I mean, think about this. When the state can take your child and inject them with hormones and medications and vaccinations and anything else that they want against your will, you're no longer allowed. You're no longer a good parent. I mean, not that you're not a good parent. Sorry, you're not allowed to be a good parent. If the state can take your child away from you and transition them to a different gender against your will, then you're not allowed to be a parent. So, no, you can't. You absolutely, we do not have the freedom to be parents in this country. We just have the ability to try to do our best within this stupid system that is around us. Let's see. Ash, I hate the Arrowverse and Stargirl. They waste villains. What a waste of goddamn characters. Well, Melissa, I would tell you, be like Ash. Don't watch Arrowverse and Stargirl and any CW shows. Like, I don't understand why people subject themselves to crap. You just don't. There's so many good things on television. We live kind of in a golden age renaissance of television. I know there's a lot of, especially today in the woke era, the past decade, but still, while print media has gone down the tubes, television media has really improved. It's also a lot of shit out there, but there's really good stuff. It's pretty impressive. Let's see. Ash, or Computer Robot says, let me find you a good episode, Ash. Let's see. Eric says, after November, they can just stay here. I don't know what you're referring to, Eric, but good to see you. Ed is in the house. Hi, Ed. How good? Ash sounds like Andy Rooney. Oh, man. I started to feel like Andy Rooney, actually. I think the most I ever paid for a pair of boots was $70 after like 25% employee discount. I used to have a pair of Caterpillars. I missed them. I don't know where they went. I lost them in a move. They were really cool, but they were like $100. Got them like 10 years ago, and I was like, Jesus, $100. But they were crazy good boots. Kids these days have been getting off too easy. Parents need to be stricter. Oh, I agree. Parents need to be stricter. You're not going to hear anything. Just I've seen what the state does and how they intervene, and basically, if you're going to be a strict parent, you better do it on the down low and never let the state find out. Man, it's good beer. Melissa says, I prefer the DC animated universe. Okay. I don't watch any of that stuff, really, to be fair. I'll watch some of the DC animated stuff when people recommend it to me. That's usually kind of the way I go. People go, oh, you should watch this, Ash. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But I don't have enough time to just go through all the dreck, you know? I would rather just fill it with stuff that's worth my time. Plus, I find when I watch something that someone recommends that forms an attachment or a connection to that person, and then it gives you something to talk about, and then forever forward, you every time you see it or whatever, you think about that person. So anyways, let's get on with what's going on in the world of comics. I don't know. Let's find out. So what does CBR have to say? WWE legend Kamala dies at 70. Oh. What is it with comic bookdom and pro wrestling? Is there anyone in the chat that can explain to me this connection? I don't get it, but it seems to be like in the past, I don't know, in this last decade, the 20 teens, like it's become this big thing where people who like comics pretty much like pro wrestling. Like they go hand. I very rarely do I find someone who's a comic fan who's also not a big pro wrestling fan, and somehow often finding ways to tie conversations about comics into pro wrestling. And as I started noticing this, I started noticing that comic books were written like pro wrestling scripts. I'm like, this isn't a story about heroes. This is a story about pro wrestlers. If you notice this, think about this. Think about the MCU. Think about most modern, especially Marvel comics. They're not written like about characters facing adversity, striving to be virtuous, do the right thing. It's really just about a group of characters that are constantly finding excuses to fight each other. And this is why you see so much too in modern comics where like heroes are fighting quote unquote heroes all the time. Civil War II, DC's now pulling this thing. Like they're always just fighting each other. You're finding characters who are like villains, but now they're not the villain anymore because they had a, what is that called? A face turn? I always get these mixed up, the face turn and the heel turn. Anyways, one of them is when a villain becomes a hero. The other one is when the hero becomes a villain. So, I can't remember which it is. I'm sure someone in the chat knows, but it feels like modern comics are that for the most part. Some are the exceptions, and I try to just read those comics. But when I see the bad ones, I'm like, Jesus, that just felt like a pro wrestling script. But instead of being in the ring, it's in the city or something, and it just gets me. Anyways, Kamal, I don't like to see people die. Fortunately, Kamala died. He had a nice long 70 years of life for a big man of his size. That's pretty impressive. I should note that his death, age 70, is actually less than the median age for COVID deaths. Seems like if you get COVID, you're likely to live longer. That's weird. Doctor Who, Christopher Eccleston returns as the 9th Doctor for audio adventure series. Oh. Wait, but huh? Whatever. Tenet star reveals why he used to lie about his father's identity. I don't care about... Is there any comic news? Disney Plus video traces Iron Man's armor evolution all the way to Aang. Oh, who cares? Tony Stark reveals MCU legacy isn't... Real MCU legacy isn't the next Iron Man. What? Does Scott Pilgrim sync up with the Smashing Pumpkins? Does CBR have anything to talk about? Joker War turns Batman and Robin movie into the Dark Knight's dream. What? Animated film takes over Toonami ahead of DC fandom. I can't make sounds. Eric Breen says, "Did you ever notice?" Yeah, Andy Rooney. Kizzy's Ash versus Evil Twitter. I can't believe you incels don't like the way healthy at any size Wonder Woman cover. That's what's happening in comics. Yeah, where is that cover? How come CBR doesn't? It's almost like Comic Book Resources doesn't talk about comic books hardly. Oh, Cable, Two Forgotten X-Men prove there's life after Krakoa. Oh, what is this about? Tracking down kidnapped mutants, children of 2 minor X-Men characters, Stinger and Omerta, who appear to be living in the suburbs, blah, blah, blah. God, I'm fucking already bored just skimming that. Dawn of X is the most atrocious thing I've ever seen in comic books. Honestly, I think I would rather read X-Men Red. I'm utterly shocked. I want to say that it can't get any worse, but I said that about X-Men Red. So, Mission Impossible 7 director clarifies Polish bridge controversy. I don't care. Who cares? Anyways, let's look about comics. You think I would have something better for the 50th episode, but I have you guys. I appreciate everyone being in chat. I don't really have a big special double-sized issue, $8.99 with foil cover or anything like that. I just have a normal broadcast. Thank you guys for being here to help support honestly, I know a lot of channels always say this. It's kind of the cliche thing, but this would not be anything without you. And that it is. I'm not some superstar. I'm just a schmo who likes comics like you guys. I tend to be very cynical. So I can have a very snobbish attitude and be salty a lot, but that's just my personality. My theory on doing shows of this type or doing YouTube channels or doing streams or whatever is that it's about the personality and having a conversation. I think for me, that's why I tune into channels like this and listen to other people, because I want to have a sense of feel like I'm being part of a conversation. So the reason I do this is because you guys are here and I like talking to you guys. I like seeing what you talk in chat. I would definitely like to have guests on the show. It's weird. I would think more people would want to stream, but finding people is a difficult thing. I guess probably has to do with the late hours that I do. Let's see. Ed says that cover is so awful. Dane says, I don't care about wrestling unless they're Mexicans. Oh, Mexicans or midgets. Wrestling is fine for me. I just don't understand the deep connection between comics and wrestling. I feel like comics is so infested with wrestling fans that they're trying to turn comics into wrestling. And then what's the deal with wrestling comics? That's what I don't get. They literally make comics about pro wrestling. It's bad enough that pro wrestling is fake. Making a comic, I don't know. I guess in some sense it makes a little bit because they make sports movies. There's Rocky movies. We were talking about that a couple nights ago, about the Rocky movies. So I guess having stories about sports is cool. Stories about fake sports. They have made pro wrestling movie. I don't know. Let's see. I like the way the face and hair is done on that cover for WW. That's it. The rest of is pandering to people who don't buy the books. It's pandering, in my opinion, it's pandering to the audience that DC expects for that book, because it's a Tamaki book. No real comic fans are going to pick up Wonder Woman. It's going to try to appeal to the new wave comic fans who are all woke and all this stuff. And so if you're going to go that direction, you might as well go hardcore into the paint, so to speak, using more sports references. Right? Because I'm not going to buy that. I'm not going to touch that Wonder Woman comic with a 10-foot pole. So it's not going to help if they put cool comic covers, right? It's like Captain America. Captain America is being written by a communist, anti-American asshole who's a total racist. I'm not going to buy that book. No way. I can't even read that book for free. It's painful. So seeing these awesome covers by Alex Ross on this series, I admire him and go, "Oh, that's a beautiful Captain America cover." Doesn't make me want to buy the book at all. It makes me actually more upset that they're not putting Alex Ross on comics that I like. Put Alex Ross on Thor covers, I don't know. So might as well, if you're going to shit the bed, sell it to people who like laying in shit, don't sell it to me. Let's see. You guys keep scrolling. I lose track. If I take my eyes away from the chat, I lose. Let's see. Ash, Melissa is crazy. I love the Arrowverse. All right, cool. Lord says hi. Hi, Lord. Good to see you. Ryuk is here. Ouch, that hurt hearing X-Men Red and I'd rather read situation. Yeah, it's two things that you normally don't expect to hear together. X-Men Red and I'd rather read it. But they're both so bad, right? It's like, what do you want to eat? A plate of dog shit or a plate of cat shit? Which would you prefer? Well, it's I don't want to eat either. Every Progressive Comics Twitter account rubber stamps the WW cover as being great. Of course it does, Eric. Of course. You're a super straw. Thanks, Eric. Join the cause to take Ash down. I don't know why there's any cause to take me down. Simply because I don't know if I can really be put any lower than I already am. Ed says, wait, pro wrestling is fake? Sorry, Ed. There's no Santa Claus either. Dawn of X is great, Ash. All right. So I guess your comment about the Arrowverse I can can disregard. Dawn of X is trash. It's trash on fire. Let's see. Dane Barrett says Jamie did great wrestling strips in L&R. I don't know. Oh, look, America. Hells yeah. Ronnie says, I'd rather see heroes act like heroes, not villains. I also want to see villains act like villains and not heroes. Heroes should be looked up to. Villains should be not aspire to be like. Yes, I agree, Marania. Very much. I very much miss the black and white nature of hero stories, right? And I think this is one of the big problems. I always end up going back to this, but big problems of Star Wars and modern Star Wars in particular is that Disney, geez, man, I've got the burps from this beer. Disney has basically a bunch of modern progressive writers in their rooms, writers' rooms. And they just don't understand the idea of writing hero stories of black and white, heroes and villains and the nature of the hero's journey. They don't understand any of this. They just literally could not write one of these stories to save their life because it doesn't. So what they do is they write these modern stories of everything's gray and the hero's really not the hero, but the villain's just really misunderstood and everyone's just sort of everyone and there's really no bad guys and it's just we're all in this mess together. And it just basically glorifies imperfection and failure. And it's just sad. It's really, and this is what they did with Star Wars. Well, a lot of people are like, duh, Ash, we understand. But the reason I use Star Wars as the example, number one, is because it's a huge part of my life. But number two is it's one of the epitome, of examples. It's I don't know what the right word is, that illustrates how to do a black and white story. Like Lucas fundamentally understood the idea of making heroes, white, essentially, not skin color white, but the white side, and then the villain's black. Like there was no gray area. There was no moral ambiguity. You were either 100%, you were either good or you were bad. Now, the non-heroes, the people that are just in between, yes, that's how normal people fall. And of course you would find those examples scattered throughout the stories. They go into the cantina. It wasn't like everyone in the cantina was some villain, right? They were scumbags in many cases because they were the dregs of society, but they weren't necessarily villains. They were people maybe down on their luck, falling into bad sorts, etc. But the heroes were heroes. Luke was ideological from the outset. The Jedi were the epitome of, peace and goodness, nonviolent, pacifistic in nature. The Empire was fascist, all-controlling, authoritarian, racist. They embodied all these different things. And he not only made sure that these characters did this, but he also did this symbolically in his stories. He would do things like make sure that the villain wore black. When you look at Darth Vader, he's in an all black suit. You take that from the old Western cowboy films, where the bad cowboy wore a black hat and the good cowboy wore the white hat. These were symbolical measures to let the audience see visually that distinction. This is how he did things like that with the lightsabers, right? The evil Sith bad guys always had red lightsabers. The good Jedi had the blue lightsabers. He didn't even have a concept of a green lightsaber until he made Return of the Jedi. And then he was like, oh, I got to have Luke make a new lightsaber. And then he was going to be blue, and I forget the exact reason why they went green. But up until that point, that's the only reason why lightsabers were red and blue, was just to have a visual distinction between the good guys and the bad guys. And then later on, you get all the progressive weirdos in writing their fan fiction and stuff, and then they go, well, the lightsaber, technically, it's because they found this crystal and it did this thing, and blah, blah, blah. And they interject all their nonsense into it, and now we've got a rainbow of colors of lightsabers, and it's like, no, you totally fundamentally misunderstood why the colors existed. They were there as symbolism to help you as an audience member understand. Anyways, I went way off the deep end on this, but I think you got my point, Rania. Let's see. I don't care about the cover or the book, but I don't like the idea of telling tween girls it's okay to be obese, says Eric Breen. I don't. Yeah, that's a whole different argument. Wonder Woman's not obese, though. I don't really know how to talk about that. We live in a society where, again, going back to the richness of Western society, most of America is overweight. A lot of it has to do with our diets. We eat a lot of processed foods, a lot of sugars, a lot of fats, although fats aren't nearly as bad for you as we've all been told. But a lot of low nutrient foods, which causes our bodies to want to eat more because we're not getting the nutrients we need. So we overeat. We just live a rich lifestyle. We're indulgent. We're decadent. And that causes a lot of people to be overweight. And then, it's natural. People have image issues, insecurities and so forth. And when you live in a society of people who are, what do you call it? They're, losing my train of thought. The entitlement. When you live in that entitlement society, the participation trophy, everyone deserves. It's like, oh, I'm a victim. Oh, look at people. It's unfair. People shouldn't look down at me because I'm overweight. And it's like, no one wants to take accountability for themselves. Look, if you're overweight, I'm not going to make fun of you because you're overweight. I mean, I'm not. Everyone's dealing with their own issues. I'd never make fun of anyone for anything that they look. I think that is a sign of a really bad person. Whenever I see someone making fun of someone else's looks, whether it's just how they look, their weight, how their hair, whatever, that's one of the most petty things to mock someone for. And I think that's just a sign. It just really paints you as a terrible person. But at the same time, I don't think that we should be praising it either. I agree. And I think that's what comics used to do well. Like, comics didn't make fun of people for being overweight or anything like that. It just said, look at these Greek Adonises, like, on page, right? Like, all of these superheroes are super muscular, super fit, and you enjoyed looking at them. Maybe that encouraged you to say, I want to look like that. It didn't ever attack you and say, look at you, filth, out of shape, whatever. Like, it didn't. It just said, here's something idealistic. Anyways, please, Ash, everyone back. The prequel era gave Lucas all sorts of crap. Today, Disney. Tomorrow, it's someone else. Well, just because people gave Lucas all sorts of crap in the prequel era has nothing to do with Disney. The prequel era issue for Star Wars doesn't have to do with SJW progressivism and writing and stuff. The prequel era has everything to do with the fact that George Lucas was a multi-billionaire that didn't have anyone who could tell him no. When he was making Star Wars, he had 20th Century Fox looking over his shoulder and being like, we gave you $8 million. You better spend it wisely. And, he had to make deadlines and milestones, and he had producers to answer to and things like that. And Star Wars was actually saved in the editing room. Star Wars was turning out to be a total disaster. Unfortunately, he had some really talented people backing him up and helping him shape his dream. Now, I still credit Lucas, of course, for being the grandfather, of Star Wars, and it never would have been anything without Lucas. but it was a collaborative effort. He had people that helped him. It's the same thing that I say about Bendis all the time. I don't think necessarily Bendis doesn't know how to write. I think no one says no to Bendis, and so he's super indulgent and just does whatever he wants, and it turns out dog shit. So Lucas thought, and he said this, he's on record for saying this, that he directed that movie from the editor's chair. And what he did is he would go shoot the film, and he would do like a dozen takes of a scene. And then he would go in the editing room and he would splice up that scene using all sorts of CGI and different things and cut a single scene together in the editing room. And Lucas has never really been an actor's director. He's always been a very visual type of person. And so he's never been able to be one of those actors that can coax a great performance out of an actor. And this is the reason why the original trilogy, if you look at Empire Strikes Back, a lot of people say Empire Strikes Back is the better film because Empire Strikes Back had an amazing director. And all of a sudden you take the idea of Star Wars and you take it out of Lucas's directing, and it doesn't just become this great, fantasy sci-fi space opera that's mind-blowingly awesome, from a visual and just, world-building standpoint, to this great human story of these characters. And it built it. And then to a lesser extent, not quite the same level of director, did Return of the Jedi, but same thing. Lucas didn't direct those films. Then Lucas directed the prequels by himself in the editor's chair, and you get lots of wooden performances. You got screenplays that probably should have been rewritten a couple of times. Look, I like the prequels because they're Star Wars. They're just weaker efforts. But Disney has a completely different problem. Disney, it's not because necessarily the films are bad. Some of them really are, but they just fundamentally didn't understand Star Wars. I can watch The Rise of Skywalker on its own in a bubble. Rise of Skywalker isn't a terrible film to watch. But as a deep-seated Star Wars fan, I'm just like, did anyone understand Star Wars at all that made this film? Because it's like I'm watching. It's like going to a Mexican food, like going to a Mexican restaurant and you order some food and they're like cooking with Spam and they're not using the right ingredients, and you're like, wait, what did I order? I ordered a shredded beef burrito, and it's like, no, this is not what man, you guys are really on the ball here with so much chat. Let's see. Do you realize, Ash, the fact that Wonder Woman as a variant cover right? The real cover has Wonder Woman in front of a Congress building. It doesn't matter. Why does it matter if it's a variant? It's still a cover. EU Christopher Barker is better than communist Disney at the end of the story, so it's okay if you hate it, but love the EU. Okay. Okay. I think I caught up on a chat. I think it's time to get into comics. It's getting before I just go long-winded forever. Eric Breen hasn't said he's going to bed yet. He might have. Eric Breen, are you in bed yet? Did I read the last Batman? Is there more? I was planning on reading Batman tonight. Come on. Sorry, I clicked. Oh, I did read Batman. There's no Batman to read. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I know. Dun, bum, 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 bum. Do you know who's back writing Superman? Do you? I ask because I don't think you do. Issue number 11 of Superman Man of Tomorrow. Robert Venditti. Oh yeah. The best Superman comic on the stands. Well, this book's not on the stands. You cannot buy this comic book, as far as I'm aware, on your local comic book store. So this would be the best comic book on the stands. Far better than a Bendis comic. This is Superman, Man of Tomorrow. Just taking a drink here. I wish it was Tomasi, Rania. I wish. But Venditti's pretty good. Especially if they ever give him his own, like if they actually give him a dedicated series. Venditti is one of those writers that if he's got time to build up some lore and let him really flesh out a long story, then his stuff will be great. The stuff of his that I've read where he's done fill-in, which is what these Superman Man of Tomorrow stories have been solid, but they feel like fill-in. Like it's like, hey Robert, we need a couple of issues of this. Can you write something? And he's like, oh yeah, put it together. But then you look at like his Green Lantern Corps, look at his Exo Man of War, and then of course look at Hawkman. When he has time to really build a mythos together and get some stories working over time, he really builds on that. It reminds me somewhat of Chris Claremont in that way. So I'm hoping that eventually they'll give him a full Superman book of his own. There we go. All right, here we go. Superman Man of Tomorrow. This is issue. What issue is this? This is issue 11 by pencils by Gleb Melnikov. Not even the last son of Krypton can challenge me. Grickus the Undefeated is champion of the galaxy. Fight of a lifetime. Before the Daily Planet building. Slow news day, Lois? Just waiting on confirmation from a source before I move ahead on my piece about embezzlement at First Metro Credit Union. Riveting. Ba-dum-dum. You'll make it sing. Ba-dum. You say that because you have to go home with me. Ba-dum. Jimmy, mind taking that ball someplace else? Sorry, Miss Lane. White said to wait until there's a photo assignment for me. Maybe I'll just hit the break room. Good idea. You could have been nicer about it. What? That racket wasn't getting on your nerves? Perry, everything all right? Definitely not. But your new story just arrived. Spaceship, always a bad thing. I mean, not always, says Clark Kent. Clark, maybe you should, your clothes will keep nice and clean on my desk. Way ahead of you. What's everyone look... Geez, sorry, Mr. Kent. Where are you headed in such a hurry? Tell me it's not hot sauce. Lois? No, it's fine. That's another ruined suit. When I'm trying to keep on a household budget, just go. Burrito down. Olsen, camera up. What am I shooting, sir? Mr. Oh. I hope Superman is on his way. Dun, 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 bum, bum. Dun, dun, dun. I like this artist. He's got a really cool style. I like the way he draws the characters. I like that he draws Clark like a big Kansas boy. Whoever you are, you're scaring people. State your business. That looks a lot like Hawkman's jet. So, the rumors are true. A Kryptonian still lives and has made his home on this backwater ball of rock. Curious. Your first impulse was not to attack? I'm more of the ask questions first, try not to shoot ever type. That speaks to you being a creature of honor. I have a request. You came all this way to say please? I came to battle. No doubt you recognize me to be Grickus the Undefeated. Then it's as I feared. The galaxy has forgotten me. Once I was infamous, designed by my masters to be an entertainer in the combat arena. A perfect combination of genetics and training. The ultimate specimen for the amusement and gambling of others. That sounds glorious? Aye. For decades it was. But I was too perfect. In time, none battled me for fear of losing. Not even the brutal bottom feeders of Warworld would hire me. One day I was champion, the next without purpose. Forced into retirement, there was nothing I could do but accept obscurity. Worse, I am only a single victory short of 1,000. Such a mark would ensure I live eternal in the annals of combat sport. Then I heard of you, last of the strongest race of all. The tales that are told of your kind. Beneath a yellow sun, it is said that you have no superior. To achieve my 1,000th victory versus a Kryptonian, that is an end I can welcome with dignity. If I lose, I was never meant for the annals at all. You're asking me to fight you to the death. Grant me this kindness. Only you can give me an honorable end, whichever end it is. Not here. But there are multitudes to witness our titanic clash, the grandest arena of all. I won't fight where innocents can be hurt. You came to my home. For me. If you want to do this, it's on my terms. Who will bear witness for the annals? How about I bring a reporter and a photographer? Now. Middling. Not even the last son of Krypton can challenge me. Grickus the Undefeated is champion of the galaxy. Not yet, Grickus. Stroom. We've only been at this a few hours. Really thought I'd quit so easily? Get him, Superman! Click. Heh. I hoped not. If this be my final contest. Grab. Let it be measured in days. Wham. Bam. Crack. Doom. Crunch. I wish this to never end. Sorry to tell you this, but the sun is up. It's a new day for me. Krakumble. Which means bedtime for you. I want seed. Krakoosh. 1,000 battles. Click, click, click. Superman? 1,000 victories. Room. Get up, Superman. He was the finest I ever fought. He represented his people with honor. Kryptonians and Earthlings. There is nothing more. My time is ended. I ended it my way. That's it? You just leave? My blade will remain as tribute. I have use for it no longer. When you tell your world this story, be sure they know Grickus was champion. One final time. Is he gone? That was a little much, don't you think? Heck of a thing asking us to watch. I needed to sell it. Wait, you were pretending? You lost on purpose? All Grickus ever had was masters who made him fight for sport. Opponents who wanted to kill him in the ring. I have friends and loved ones, a city, a life. I won. And I wasn't totally pretending. That guy packed a wallop. Anyway, it isn't Grickus's fault he became what he was. He at least deserved to retire with dignity. When my time comes, I hope it's on my terms and not because somebody puts me out to pasture. So, this story won't run on the planet? What story? Superman put on a show. Entertainment is someone else's beat. Too bad. I took some really great shots. Ow. Ow. Me too. Outside Metropolis, a top-secret military installation. That finishes it. Let's bolt him back together. The upgrade was a success, General Lang. You better be right, Doctor. Well, Sergeant Corbin, how do you feel? How do I feel, General? Metallo is ready to see action. Next, the weight of the world. Another fun book of Superman, Man of Tomorrow. All right. Do classic X-Men or classic... Wait, do a classic X-Men or classic story... Wait, or classic story Ash or Batman? I don't have any classic Ash stories. Venditti is a good choice too. Wake up, Breen. It's story time. We don't need other Superman stories. We got Bendis. Breen really loves the modern writing. He's been converted by Gabby Rivera. He used to love old school comics, but then he read America, and National Treasure Gabby Rivera has converted him to see the modern ways. And he no longer likes stuff by like classic writers like Venditti. Eric, do you want to join Venkman in the negative zone naughty corner? The art for the characters feels like the classic character archetypes. The other parts of the art are hit or miss. Good in some spots, murky in others, like the backgrounds. I agree, Marania. That's a pretty astute observation, and it was something I was kind of thinking too. But then I was thinking, this is not a primetime book, so this is definitely a good vessel to put a new kind of up-and-coming artist who, you know, still has a lot of stuff to hone, you know, get out. I'm saying the wrong word. That's every artist has to start somewhere, right? If you go back and look at where did Todd McFarlane start? Was it Hawk and Dove? No, that was Liefeld. Todd McFarlane, he started on some DC book. But if you go back and you look at a lot of these great artists, you see like the first stuff that they did, you're like, ooh. I actually think for a title like this, it's not even on stands. I mean, this is not even like a B-list book. This is C or D-list title. This is way better art than I would expect. I mean, I would prefer this over most anything at Marvel. This is better art. Let's see. Let's just no, I don't want to. If we go and, you know, flip through some of these pages, especially when you look at the page level rather than the panel, because sometimes when you look at just panel by panel, you don't see the layouts, which is a huge deal for art, and also you're getting a really big blow up of each panel, and it makes the art look worse than it is. If you zoom in too much on any art, it's going to look bad. But when you take a zoomed out approach from these full pages, you are right. There's very little backgrounds. This guy, it's obviously not a strength. But this book didn't need backgrounds per se for this. This seemed like a good vessel to get an artist out there. I would be happy, man, if Marvel art was this good. Well, and I don't know if I'd read it more because they'd still need good writing, but I liked this page a lot. I just liked the way it flowed visually. I like the physicality of Clark Kent. I think this is going to be an artist maybe in a couple years to look at, you know. What was his name? Gleb Melnikov. I mean, who could forget the name Gleb? So in a couple years, if you're seeing Gleb do some good stuff, you're like, oh yeah, I remember when I first saw his work on Ash on Comics channel. Oh, we miss Ash. You'll be thinking to yourself. Eric says, McFarlane started with Infinity Inc. number 14. Thank you, Eric. This is why I like having him in the chat. Eric says, old comics are problematic. Ronnie says, this guy is an intelligent version of Doomsday. Well, it turns out that Superman was kind of faking it, so I don't know if he really was like a Doomsday. He was just another one of those tough brawler guys that Superman still beats. Kind of shows a little bit of why Superman himself can tend to be a problem in poor hands. A lot of bad writers want to make Superman just a brawler, and they need to create villains that can stand toe to toe with Superman. But realistically, no one can, and so if you go down that route, it makes for uninteresting stories. I thought it was interesting to me that Venditti went down this road, but it wasn't to show like, hey, look, Superman beat up the bad guy. It was more to tell a story of how Superman would deal with this and how he sort of faked it to let the guy beat him so that he could just, he handled the situation in a way that was really best for everybody. And he didn't need to go out with glory and be like triumphant. This is the way a real hero would deal with things, right? Modern writers would write like, look at our character is the best. He can't ever think about this particular story, right? But replace it as a Superman story and replace it with Captain Marvel. And now imagine how the story would go, right? In a modern Marvel book, Captain Marvel, this wouldn't happen. Captain Marvel is not about being the hero. It's not about saving people. She's about being the best, and no one can beat her. And a lot of modern comics aren't about heroism. It's just about being celebrities and superstars and self-aggrandizement. And like I said, that's where I kind of come across it's like pro wrestling. You know, pro wrestlers aren't heroes. They don't step in the ring and be like, look, I'm saving. It's just about nice guys and the faces and the heels. The faces are the guys that people like. They're the ones that have likable personalities, and the heels are the ones that act stupid and they talk shit to the crowd, and they're the assholes. You're meant to not like them. They're meant to create a situation where you root for the face. But that's not about heroism. This comic wasn't written. It's funny because I was reading this the whole time. I'm like, man, we were just talking about pro wrestling, and this book feels kind of like a pro wrestling. But then Venditti, I don't want to say he outdoes himself, but he defies my expectations, because he didn't write a story about pro wrestling. He wrote a story about real heroes don't care about being the victor in the battle and beating people up. Real heroes care about saving the ones that they love, not allowing violence to happen. And Superman handles the scene by letting himself kind of get beat up so that guy can go away, live in peace. And he realizes this dude's had a shit fucking life. And if I can just let him beat me up and he can go retire and never hurt anyone again, and meanwhile everyone on Earth gets to be saved, and that's the best way to end. And it's not the deepest, most powerful, moving story I've ever read, but I thought it was a clever way to write a Superman story, and I appreciated it. There is no story that Carol Danvers doesn't make better, bigot. Superman didn't humiliate the other guy, right? Doug Johnson, an Ayn Rand comic book? Wonder if she is painted as a hero or a villain. This is a series of books. I found this accidentally because it was free, so I picked it up. And I read a few of the pages, and it doesn't feel like they're trying to paint her as a hero or a villain. It does feel like they were trying to be true. It's more of a biographical comic. It's by Fred Van Lente and Ryan Dunlavery doing the art. And they have a whole series called Action Philosophers. And they're basically like mini biographies of famous philosophers like Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and there's other ones. And just basically kind of just telling you a quick comic book short story to give you a basic understanding of who they were and why they mattered. So, yeah, you can go check this out on Comixology. It's free. And go read it yourself. And it costs you nothing. Then come back and tell me how fair you thought it was. All right, so we'll close that. And the main event for tonight, Chrononauts, Volume 1. We are on Chapter 4, which is Issue 4. Dane says he's more like a bargain basement. I think he meant to say Mongol. I don't know if he was a bargain basement per se. But yeah, like he was there to serve a story that Venditti wanted to tell, and I don't think it would have made sense if he used a villain that we all knew. Like if he would have put Mongol in that story, I don't think Mongol leaves Superman just laying in the dirt and be like, all right, cool, I'm out of here. Like, so you had to kind of create, I'm assuming this is a new character. Eric, correct me if I'm wrong that Cricus is not a new character. Eric says, that's heroism to you. Doug says, Frank Castle is my real hero. Well, Doug, I like Frank Castle a lot too, but he's no hero. Comics, like college, should be free or pirated. Oh, man. Are you guys liking this Chrononauts? Tell me how you think so far. We've had 3 issues. I'm really enjoying it. This is like the best dude bro comic I've ever read. Like I want more Sean Gordon Murphy dude bro comics. He just does them so good. Even though he's not writing it, but I have a feeling like he contributed to the writing because he's done other dude bro stuff before. In fact, I have his first graphic novel, which I wish I could get digitally. I would love to do it. It's I think it's called Off-Roadin'. But anyways, yeah, tell me what you guys are thinking before I get started. I'll put the CBR away. We don't need no CBR. 50 episodes. Should I continue this? Do you guys like this whole live stream format, reading comics? What do you prefer? Do you prefer the comic reading, or do you prefer the bullshitting, chatting portion? Or do you kind of like like a mix, 50-50? The bad thing is when you do a stream like this, I should experiment when doing a low latency stream. I do the normal latency, which has like an 8-second delay. So it's difficult because when I ask questions, I have to wait like 8 seconds before you guys even hear what I'm saying. And then I have to give you time to type. So oftentimes it can be like 30 seconds before I get answers. Eric says, this comic will be perfect when it's written by a woman. Well, Eric, funny that you should mention that, because one of my favorite filmmakers of all time, the Wachowski brothers, both became women, and they are both making sequels to The Matrix. So we all know The Matrix will now be better because they'll be made by women. So can't wait for that, because I'm a huge Matrix fan, and now it's going to be written by women. So it's like, geez, if only George Lucas could turn into a woman and make more Star Wars films, then we would just get the best things ever. Marania says, that villain actually had more depth to him in that one story than 9/10 of the way characters are written in modern Marvel. Yes, I know there's exceptions, but they're rare. I agree. I was reading this comic, and as I was thinking as I was reading, and I was like, wow, man, I was sitting here kind of making a big deal, like, oh, Venditti's back doing Superman, da 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 da. I'm like, this seems to be a really, really one-dimensional book. It's just Superman fighting a dude in a field. Like, there's not a lot going here, but like I said, true to form, Venditti always finds a story in there, right? And the story obviously being like what a hero would do. And it was an excuse to get some cool comic book action shots of Superman fighting some super villain character. Not a stellar book, but that's what standard comics used to be. Just fun. You'd pick them up off the comic rack and you'd have fun reading an issue. And that's not a big issue because these are fill-in books. They're not even a full. I think that's like a 17-page story. I think these are meant to actually go in the Superman Giants. That's why we're not seeing them on the comic stands. So we technically are seeing them on the comic stands, but we're seeing them as anthology stories. I like the balance between the chat and the reading of the books. Oh, okay. Well, let's see some other people get their opinions in the chat if they care to give them to me. In the meantime, I'm going to proceed ahead with our regularly scheduled program. This is Chapter 4, Book 4 of Chrononauts. And here we go. Now. Oops, I got to turn on the guided view. Now. How long have we got? Impossible to say. All we know is that two guys loose in 1504 could have an exponential impact on literally billions. Will we feel it when it hits? I don't think so. That's the one consolation. Whatever changes they make, we won't know any different. Shit. We can't just give up. Base Command, this is Mannix. "65 million years BC. My team got trampled by a herd of dinosaurs, but I've only sustained minor injuries. I've got a trace on a suit in Samarkand, and I'm heading there now to finish those assholes." Mannix, I could kiss you. Kiss me after I've ripped their lungs out. Stomp. I did not see that coming. Oh, Mark Millar, I love you. God, he knows. This is a bit cliche, but it's awesome because if you pull it off and you don't, and you catch me by surprise, I don't care how cliche it is. Like, that's awesome. Oh man. Oh jeez. Mannix? Samarkand, 1504. I used to be a general in the Shea-Banded... I don't know how to pronounce that. I used to be a general in the Shea-Banded army before I served as your security. Oh, wait. Oh. I could not tell where this word balloon was pointing to. It's pointing to this dude right here. Oh, you can't see the... Never mind. Can't see my mouse cursor. All right, so starting over. I used to be a general in the Shea-Banded army before I served as your security. My specialty was extracting information from enemy soldiers. Now, you and your friend might pretend to be these mighty warriors, but we both know you're merely scientists. So let me ask you one more time. Tell me how the suit works, or my swordsman will have your head. Go to hell. Do you know what I could become with those powers? What I could do with this region if I had control of the future and the past? That's why you're getting jack shit. Corbin! Stop! Leave him alone!
Take the blonde one to the torture room. He knows as much as the doctor does anyway. We can start with his genitals and see where it goes from there.
What?
Danny, can you forgive me for getting you into this, man?
Of course I do. You're my best friend. But this isn't over yet, dude.
Yes, it is.
Outside the city.
It's hard to believe you were a king this morning. Look at you now, all bloodied and broken. A beggar would be ashamed. Throw him down the hill. Let the dogs finish him off.
Don't worry, Doctor. We'll take good care of your friend.
Ugh.
That's a fall that can only be survived in comic books. What do we do now?
Leave him. No friends, no powers. I doubt he'll last the night in the desert.
By the way, who's this blonde-haired chick in, what is this, 16th century Samarkand? Like, why is she... No, never mind. Why am I asking about questions? Why? Shit. But they were wrong to write me off. Yeah, I was stranded and beaten to hell, but I've got an IQ of 240, and one thing I was famous for is never giving up. My dad was a drinker, so I was paying the bills from the age of 7. We didn't have any cash, but I still won a scholarship to Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge, and MIT. They told me time travel was impossible, so I spent the next 10 years proving I was right, defying Isaac Newton and Albert Einstein. I wasn't going to get beaten by a dog. My friend was in trouble and needed my help. India. Pakistan. Europe. The Atlantic Ocean. How long have you been traveling now, Dr. Quinn? 18 months. It hasn't been easy, but I'm halfway there. I'll find what I'm looking for by Christmas at the latest, and then I'm going back to save Danny from those psychopaths. But surely your friend... Well, we don't mean to be morbid, but wouldn't they have killed him after all this time? Theoretically, yes. But if what I think is out there, even death won't be an issue. You see, there's one little detail everyone else forgot. A man who dropped in the middle of nowhere dressed in something very useful. And if he's still there, all bets are off. Those batteries I built last 100 years. And if I've done my math correctly, there's 46 years left. Yes. Norway, AD 18 or 812. Sparta, 431 BC. France, AD 1916. Rome, 225 BC. China, 202 BC. Gentlemen, your emperor needs you one final time. Are you ready for the fight of your lives? Oh my goodness. I thought as much. Outside the city.
It's hard to believe you were a king this morning. Look at you now, all bloodied and broken. A beggar would be ashamed. Throw him down the hill. Let the dogs finish him off.
No, you're the one that's dog food, buddy. Jesus. 18 months I was thinking up that line. Oh, you're right to look scared, man. Quinn to all battalions. Advance the troops. Oh, jeez. What the? Talk about overkill. This is a crazy 2-page spread. Imagine how long it took Sean to draw this. Holy crap. Moosh.
Where are they coming from?
Past, present, and future, Sarvar.
Quick, close the doors.
The wood's a foot thick, Doctor. Monty, get a bazooka.
By the time you get through, your friend will be dead. Shit. Danny, can you hear me? Hit the goddamn floor.
What the hell?
I said hit the floor, Danny.
Oh my goodness. This reminds me of that shot out of True Lies when he's flying the Harrier, shooting up the building. I think this is what is this one, in the F-35? Thank you, brother. A pleasure. We need to fix this, man. This is all just so totally out of control. Spartans just gunning people down. That's absurd. What are you talking about? Everything's been taken care of. Dude, there's a gang of samurai riding a tank. We can't leave them. We can't leave the time stream looking like this. Look at the samurai. We need to go back and fix our mistakes. Back to the moment I first came back, and we can never go home. And we can go home like none of it ever happened. Forget about it. No wife, no family, no nothing outside the lab. Poke. I screwed up my life for this bullshit project. I'm not going back to nobody waiting for me. So fix it. What? Fix your mistakes. When we were fixing all this other stuff. You say you didn't make time for people. Well, now you've got the chance to be in 2 places at once. You'll never get another chance to show up for the dates that you missed or the time you wish you'd spent with your dad. Just head back now and be there all the times that you were missing. Are you serious? Who's gonna know? (2008) 2009. (2010). Corbin? We've got your AA meeting tonight, Dad. Oh, you don't have time for stuff like that. What are you talking about? What's more important than you? Now, come on. Get in the car. I'm driving you every week from now on. Looks like Kurt Russell. 2013. I love you, baby. I love you too. So how did things go with your old man? The Americas, 1492. That's 4 years he's been sober. I couldn't be happier. I also went back to school and slipped myself the answers to a test I got a B in once. I know I was only 6 at the time, but it's always kind of rankled. You're so weird. I'm just sitting there like waiting for Columbus to show up. Well, here comes Columbus, just like we planned. Record. He's fatter than the paintings. He's Italian, dude. Give him a break. Are you ready to go home now that we've got the pictures? Honestly, I think I kind of am. Awesome. Gentlemen, this is Base Command. That's 8 minutes in total you've been gone. Are you ready for the return trip? Base Command, we're on our way. Everyone's celebrating like the splashdown from the first manned mission in space. It's like the first time travel mission. What the hell happened to your chrono suit? Space-time anomaly. Don't even ask. Just to put my mind at ease,
Reagan still won in 1980, right? That he did. Clinton still won in 92? Right again. What about President Palin? Don't mess with me, asshole. Ah. Hello, genius. Your daughter and I missed you where you were off making history. Looks like you missed us, too. Huh? Look at you. You're gorgeous. A beautiful family and a Nobel Prize on the way. I really couldn't be more proud. Thanks, Dad. All's well that ends well, huh? The only way this could be more perfect is if I declared my love and proposed, Miss Porter. What do you say? Should we make this day even more monumental? Well, I'm not sure my husband would be too happy about that, Dr. Riley. What? Thanks again for getting us ringside seats for all this. You've always been so good to me and the kids. Kids? That's because as security chief I might have to save his ass one day. Good job in there, brainbox. Now the boys want to be Chrononauts when they grow up too. Danny, I'm so sorry. It must have been a ripple effect from the changes we made. Gonk. He just punches him in the balls. Shit. Nice. And here's the Millar World checklist. All the books you need. Oh, this is funny. Check it out. There's a picture of Mark Millar and Sean Murphy standing next to DeLorean. That's pretty funny. Doing the whole Back to the Future thing. That's cool. This is the book I'm looking forward to reading. Everyone's said this is fantastic. Gotta read that still. I barely heard of this one. I should check it out. I don't know if any of you guys have read any of those books, but let's see. Not very talk. I can always tell when the comics are more engaging because there's less talk. when the comics are shit, like America. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that, Eric? You guys have lots of things to say. Looking forward to the new adventures of Shio in the next Matrix movie. Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna do another Matrix. I mean, Neo's dead, so whatever they do, I hope in the Matrix. I don't know. I don't know. It might be really bad. I could live without the Twitter BS, and Marania is absolutely right. You need to read more cringe. All right, take that into consideration. I try to keep the Twitter BS short, Dane. Cult film video. I just read this. Good comic. I thought you were supposed to say drop the taco before you say get in the car. Oh, Eric. I'm busting nuts in the stream too. Jimmy says, Huck. Eric says, speaking of fantastic books, have any of you read Pulp by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips yet? No, didn't that just come out? And isn't it only available as like a graphic novel? Computer Robot says, Ashland Comics and chat, yeah, that's where the difference... what's the difference back when the Americans had healthier bodies, such as the 60s to the early 2000s, whereas today they become more and more obese? What? That's out of left park. Wait, is there a left park? Left field.
out of left field. And chat, yeah, that's what's the difference back when Americans and healthier bodies. I guess the difference, well, the 60s is what today would have, wait, the 60s is what today would have been without the internet. The 60s is when the left got out of control and started tearing apart our country. And then thankfully we got our shit back together in the 80s and fixed things. And now we're repeating. I don't know how to address your comment, computer robots. But fortunately, we have modern medicine and modern luxuries. If you just watch that film, what's that Pixar film? God, what's the one with the robot? Drawing a blank. Wall-E. Wall-E is kind of a commentary on that, where society becomes so soft, you know, because we have computers to do everything for us. We don't even need to walk anymore because we got these chairs that just take us everywhere. Society is becoming more and more like that. I don't know. I guess that's the difference. The difference is in the 60s, we relied more on physicality. Now we've got machines to do things for us, so we're getting softer and softer. Eric says, yes and yes, read it today. Worth every penny of the $17 price. Or read it today. All right. Well, I hear Brubaker's really good writer, so $17 is a lot though for a book. How many pages is it? That's a lot. This was fantastic. Exit the reader. It's called Pulp. Let's see if Comixology. Yes, there you go, Rania. Sedentary Society. That's exactly. So Comixology has it for $13. Average rating 5 stars. That's a little bit better of a price, and it's 76 pages. Have I told you guys that you can get Firepower? It's 160 pages, and it's only $9.99. It's a lot cheaper. It's really good. But anyways, I don't know. I keep plugging that book. I really love it. Yeah, look at all that art. Look at all that art there, Eric. It's worth your $17 right there. Oh, look at that. More fantastic art. $17. I'm just giving you shit. Eric says 72. It came out in hardcover first. Will probably be released in softcover for 12 later. Wait a second. It's $17. It's a hardcover book? That's pretty. It says 76 pages, not 72. But sometimes the digital counts them differently because it counts like the front cover and the back end. So, whatever. Yeah, that's still a lot, man. $17 for 76 pages. That's a lot, man. What's that, like three comics? I don't know, man. I guess if you're a big, massive Brubaker fan, what was it that we just? Oh, it's gone. Chrononauts. How many pages was Chrononauts? 118 pages. So, yeah, that's a big price to pay. I guess for some people it's not. I guess it all depends on what your budget is. So, I'm glad you got to enjoy it. I can't afford to do that, unfortunately. Brubaker is the best storyteller in comics today, period. Except for maybe Bendis and Rivera. No, buddy. But I would definitely like to check it out. Like I said, I'm gonna have to wait until that comes down. I'm not paying. I thought it was gonna be like a graphic novel, so like if it was like 120 to 160 pages for that, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Comics with Jimmy. You know what's a good book? Invincible. Just bought the second Ultimate Collection yesterday. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's not even midnight yet. That stream is going fast. Once again, I want to thank everyone that has joined me here and made this all happen. Just chilling. I know that Americans' obese question was out of left field, but you guys were discussing it earlier in the stream. Oh yeah, we were. Eric says, no sleep last night, hanging by the thread. Well, my friend, you made it through 2 comics tonight, which is much further than you normally make. So hopefully you enjoyed those. I know I made some reading errors. Sometimes it's difficult when you're reading out loud and trying to keep track of who's saying what. It's harder to do live impromptu readings like that and not. I try my best not to screw up, but sometimes after I read something, I'll be like, I should have had a different inflection on that now that I know where that was going. But again, this is the 50 episodes of this. I'm trying to get a feel of where to go further. I kind of want to do some changes. I'm not sure what to do. I'm not sure what works best. That's why I was asking you guys earlier for your feedback as far as what you like. Less Twitter is one of the things I got. Ash has been seeing the seeds of Discord for almost 2 hours already. What? No, he's going to retype that. I think I'm going to continue to do the 2 comic books. It feels that works out really well. But I think I might stop doing the idea of like having an opener and then whatever. And I might just go with two books, that are like series. And just basically have like 2 headlining books. Do you guys think that might work better than just... Because it's really difficult these days to find single issue books and just be like, here you go. We know what you meant, Eric. You didn't have to delete what you said. Ronnie says, take care of everyone and congratulations on 50, Ash. Thank you. Let's see. I realize the same reason you read new Frank Miller is the same reason I read new Bendis. I just want to see a thread of the past. Okay. Yeah. So anyways, what I was saying is I think I'm going to do that. That's kind of my idea of just do like 2 books, and just have 2 ongoing series and just screw it. Like they'll probably overlap because some series will be like 4 issues, some will be 6, or some will be 2. And maybe I'll do single issues here and there if I can find them. It's really difficult sitting there going, I got to read something as the opener tonight. I don't know what's going to be. So yeah. Or I'll just keep reading the Batman and Superman books. That's another thing I was thinking of doing because those are coming out regularly. Do you guys liking those at all? I think the Batman and Superman are fun. Venditti and Paul Dini. It's kind of weird that the best Batman and Superman writers are writing digital only books. It's like, I guess the Batman's not digital only. That one does come out physically, but it's just weird to me. Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I just like winging this. I appreciate it, you guys hanging out. I'm just now struggling for stuff to just bullshit about. I'm going to wrap this up and, probably go read some comics because I'm way behind on those. If you guys have anything that you've been reading that you want to suggest, I love hearing about it. And I try to read everything you guys put in the chat, especially if there's suggestions. I want to know more. I know some people are not here tonight. Have been reading some comic suggestions. I got Chase over there at the Gateway into Comics has been reading Oblivion Song, and he's been liking that. I think I got Nalo to read Oblivion Song as well. I'm not going to be going on Discord tonight. Well, I don't know. Does anyone else want to go on Discord? I don't know. I guess if a lot of people wanted to go, it is the 50th episode. Bad Mother by Krista Faust was pretty good. Why are you reading all this weird stuff, Eric? Don't you read mainstream comics anymore? Bad Mother. I haven't even heard of this. What's Bad Mother? Last time you suggested me to read a book, it was Lois Lane by Greg Rucka, and I wanted to shoot myself in the face. Oh, it's by AWA Upshot. Okay, it's a Christopher Priest book with Mike Diodato art. Okay. So what is this about a bad mother? Let's see. A nerve-wracking thriller from crime writer Krista Faust. Hey, why does it have Christopher Priest? What? Did Christopher Priest get like a sex change or something? What the hell? Why? It's just weird. It says it's written by Krista Faust, but on the comic book cover it says, oh no, it's not Krista. The type was so small I'd read it as Christopher Priest. Never mind. I don't know who Krista Faust is. Apparently she's a crime writer. And she's written next to nothing. Okay, I'm excited about people who've never written comics writing comics. Eric, you totally did suggest Lois Lane to me, you little liar. You were like, oh, I got Lois Lane, you should read it. And I wanted to shoot myself. I've never recovered, by the way, from that. That was awful. I don't think anyone else wants to go to Discord. So I'm going to take that as a negative. I need to catch up on some comic books, but under normal circumstances, if people wanted to hang out, and other people are more than welcome to go there. But I want to thank you guys, Marania, Eric, Computer Robots, Jimmy, Chris. Who else am I forgetting? Ed, Dane, Melissa. I don't know if you're still there. You haven't been commenting for a while. I'm sure I might be missing a few, but thank you all for being here. Thank you guys for being regulars and helping the stream be what it is. Maybe we can do 50 more episodes, and with your feedback, maybe I can actually get a little bit better at doing what I do. Have a good evening. Read good comics. Share those good comics with me, so I don't have to read Eric Breen suggestions. And Eric says, leave a like even if you don't mean it. That's always appreciated too. Likes are good. Comments in the chat. I know it's live, but under normal videos, leaving a comment, even just something like, yo, it helps to have the algorithm to have interactions with the videos. Hope to do some more videos this week. It's been a hectic week this past week with the kids being here and house construction and things like that. It's been really tough to do any sort of videos. I haven't even gone to the comic book store this week, so this coming Wednesday should be a pretty large comic haul video. I'm not looking forward to that coming out of my wallet. But if I don't see you before then, I'll see you Tuesday. And if I don't see you Tuesday, I'll be very sad. And I don't mean mine tonight. What? I don't even know what Eric's saying anymore. He's delirious. Thanks for being here.